We then next level of teaching comes, let Brahmin ignore him who thinks that Brahmin is different from the self. Okay? Let Kshatriya ignore him who thinks that Kshatriya is different from the self. Let the higher worlds ignore him who thinks that higher worlds are different from the self. Let the gods ignore him who thinks that gods are different from the self. Let the creatures ignore him who thinks that creatures are different from the self. Let all ignore him who thinks that anything, whatever is different from the self. The priest, the warrior, the higher worlds, the gods, the creatures, whatsoever things there be, these are all the self. This is the teaching of Sarvam Khalu Brahma. Now, you may start thinking, okay, we are very selfish. I love my wife because of for myself. That means I am selfish. Right? It is not true. There is no selfishness taught here. Selfishness comes when you start thinking that you are the body and you are the mind. When you are real self transcends all. Your wife is also self. Your husband is also self. So now there is a real love. Okay? Earlier there was a love for the body, which is called sex, or desire in the mind called passion, kama. So this gives tremendous disturbance for the mind because the body is temporary. The mind is changing. You are actually, love is directed towards something changing. When you recognize the true nature of yourself, Atma, then you recognize the true nature of self in all. So your wife is no longer a body or a mind, your wife is the self. Everything in the world is self. Atma reva drashtavyam. It didn't say that only see yourself as a selfish person. See the self in all. So now the love is not sex or passion, it's a pure love. In pure love, as I told you, there is a peace and silence. In physical or mental aspect of love, there is a disturbance, emotions. When the love is for the self, when you love your husband for yourself, you see the self in her or self in him, then there is a pure love. That you cannot do unless you see yourself. Okay? See, the self we have to understand, the word self you have to understand. I see the chair. Okay? The chair is an object and I am the subject. I am the self. The chair is an object, I am the self. Correct? So there is a self and the other is there. So when I see you, okay, you are the object and I am the self. But when you see me, I am the object and you are the self. So our understanding of self is something wrong. I can be subject and object. I can subject for myself and object for you. Right? So which means my understanding of self is not correct. If the self is the body, okay, I am the subject and you are the object. But for my body is object for you. So it's not self. It's an object. Your body and my body both are object. Similarly, your mind and my mind are both are objects, not the subjects. Their real subject, real self, transcends both. When I speak of self, you think, oh, it's limited to me. So the limited to me is not true because I am the object of your experience. And my mind is also object of my own experience. The self transcends both subject and object. The self is the Atma. Atma is Brahman. It's universal. It's not individual. So when I see the self in me, I see the self in you also. So now there is a true love because you are not different from me. You cannot be different from me at all. Earlier my love for you is I can become, I feel complete with you. Right now I and you are both complete in the form of self, Atma. So Yadnavalkya tells Maitreyi, don't get an impression that self means only limited to you. There is a selfishness, not the body and mind. Self is universal. The universal self is called Brahman. So the universal self appears as everything in the world. So that it appears as everything in the world, but self itself is not appearing because self is consciousness. Consciousness is not an object at all. Consciousness is always the subject. Consciousness cannot be objectified. Like a snake, rope appears as snake. The entire universe, the Atma, Brahman, appears as universe, appears as husband, appears as wife, appears as Brahmana, appears as Kshatriya. Okay. Most of us are fooled by appearances. We consider a person as an appearance only. So somebody gives a respect to Brahmin thinking that he is a Brahmin. Okay. Ignore that person because he doesn't know what Brahmin means. Brahmin means the consciousness operating through a Brahmin body. Brahman operating through a Brahmin body. So then you are not seeing the person fully.
Consciousness operating through any body, right? Not
Every body. That's why I am saying.
You said Brahman.
No, he is giving example. Brahmin, Kshatriya, examples, one by one. So if somebody respects Kshatriya because he is a Kshatriya, please understand Kshatriya is an instrument, body. One who is operating through the body is consciousness, self. Your self only is operating. So that's why when you do Namaskara, okay, so Namaskara is the self in me and self in you are one. That is Namaskara. So we think that Namaskara is done for the body. So then the Namaskara has to be Tiraskara. That's what he's saying. It has no value for that. Because the Namaskara is done without understanding. What is the value for the body? The body will go, tomorrow it's there, tomorrow, day after tomorrow it will become old and after that it will die. What is the value you are giving to the body? The value is given to what is operating through the body. That's consciousness. So then, if you think that higher worlds exist not because of themselves, because of the consciousness. How is the higher world exists because of consciousness? I am able to see the sun. Sun is the brightest object. Okay? Sun is the object. But to see the sun, my eyes are required. The consciousness of eyes is greater than the consciousness of sun. The mind is required to see through the eyes. Consciousness of mind is more than the consciousness of eyes. So then, the consciousness itself powers all this. The consciousness is the light, Atma Jyoti, the light of the self, which lights the sun. So this, my consciousness, which is lighting up the sun. The sun is an object. The object is appearing because of my eyes. My eyes are limited. Okay, they are like 5 blind men. My 5 sense organs are telling me of the world. What is the world out there? I have never known. Because of my limitation of sense organs. Of course, sense organs are useful for functioning. But they cannot tell me what exactly is out there. And whatever sense organs are there, they are giving inputs based on the limitation. Like 5 blind men trying to figure out an elephant. What I am figuring out there is Atma only, the self only. Self only is figured out as existence aspect of self. Astitva. The sun exists, the moon exists, earth exists, the wife exists. Everything is existence aspect. In the objects is existence aspect, in the living beings it's a consciousness and existence. Both are manifesting. So I am seeing myself in all. If I don't just see the form and name, but don't see the essence, which is existence and consciousness, my seeing is partial. I am like a blind man. So Yajnavalkya says, all that what you see, sarvam khalu brahma, all that we see is Brahman only, the consciousness only. Oh, how I can't see consciousness. You cannot see consciousness because consciousness is the subject. You can experience the existence aspect of consciousness. Existence appears as chair, existence appears as flower, existence appears as sun. Sun exists, moon exists. The existence aspect you take. So that existence aspect is eternal. I am aware of that existence. So existence and consciousness is one. Consciousness cannot be seen, existence cannot be seen. Okay, that's my self. And there is a self of all. So once this understanding comes from a love, a human love, you enter into divine love. It's a universal love. So Yajnavalkya, the husband, is teaching his wife to experience the divine love.